Hello everyone, my name is Alec, and I want to welcome you to the second episode of the Hero's Journey series. In our last episode, we talked about the first three stages of the hero's journey: ordinary world, call to adventure, and refusal of the call. Today, we will talk about the remaining two stages of the first act: meeting the mentor and crossing the first threshold. Please keep in mind that we are using Christopher Vogler's template here. Other sources might have different names or more stages in between, so consider that if you are using other sources that are different from the ones that are listed in the description below. The first thing that we have to consider is that the hero's journey is not always a linear, clear-cut process. Unlike Freitag's pyramid, where each stage follows a predictable order and basically does not vary through the majority of narratives, the hero's journey can be a bit more convoluted, with blurred lines between each stage and sometimes even overlapping events. In our last episode, I mentioned that the call to adventure and the refusal of the call could happen multiple times, or that the refusal of the call could be missing entirely from our story. In this later case, however, the refusal can come later in a different form. Think about Will Turner refusing to accept that his father is a pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean, or Merida refusing to accept her role as a princess in Brave. These characters first embark on what we could consider the main adventure without much hesitance or by accident, and only come to accept their role at the end of the film. There is a refusal in these stories, but it doesn't happen at the beginning of the film. In Star Wars, for example, Luke Skywalker receives his call to adventure while meeting with his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and refuses to join the old Jedi until he discovers that his relatives are now dead. Spoiler alert. The meeting of the mentor, therefore, can happen at some point during or after the call to adventure and the refusal of said call. However, who can be a mentor? Archetypically, or traditionally, wizards, old men, and teachers. Practically, anyone that holds or can impart knowledge. The traits shared by Obi-Wan, Mr. Miyagi, Haymitch, Hagrid, and Gandalf is that they're all men. Well, what do you know? I found one, and that is Mary Poppins. Other examples can be Professor McGonagall and Harry Potter. Well, moving on, because that's a topic for another day. Female representation, everyone. Even the movies and books seem to love wise old men as mentors. Mentors can be anything or anyone that can pass on knowledge and skills to our hero. This is essential if the hero is to complete their mission and hopefully come back home in one piece. In some cases, the mentor will accompany the hero on their mission or will stay behind to mentor other people, I guess, or to betray our hero during the sequel, if convenient. In short, the mentor provides practical training, profound wisdom, a kick up the butt, or something abstract like grit and self-confidence. In Bilbo's case, Gandalf provided a little nudge out of the door. And once you cross that door, in narrative and Vogler's Guide for Writing, there is no coming back. This is perhaps the clearest stage of the hero's journey, and usually can be described as the moment that the balloon goes up, the ship sails, the romance begins, the wagon gets rolling. This marks the end of the departure stage and is when the adventure really gets rolling. You get swelling, exciting orchestral music, panning shots of train stations, magical worlds, encroaching forests, sailing ships. It is here where, if done correctly, the movie or book should make you go, wow. And from this point on, there is no turning back. So those are the 2 points that I want to talk about today. Meeting the mentor and crossing the threshold, which I mentioned completes the first act, the departure act, when our hero starts in an ordinary world and steps foot into the magical world. In my experience, I had 2 mentors that helped me listen to the call for my adventure and provided me with knowledge, tools, confidence to push forward despite obstacles and challenges. Incidentally, Both mentors are women. The first one is the lady who used to be my therapist when I lived in Tecate. She actually helped me follow the call because the first time that I had a session with her, she mentioned, you're 23 years old and you're not going to move forward until you move out of your parents' house. It was a call that I had heard plenty of times before from myself, from other people. And then I realized this woman is right. I have to do that, right? So she helped me follow that call, and she not only told me, like, she didn't only give me the nudge out of the door, but she reminded me that I've always wanted to do this, that I was not a tree, that I could move around, and that I could do better than what I was doing at that moment. And also, she helped me manage my emotions, so she provided me with skills and with abilities that I didn't have up until that point. And without those, I might have been able to embark on my journey, but maybe I wouldn't have been successful. That is my first mentor. And like I mentioned, it doesn't need to be a wise old man. In this case, it was a wise middle-aged woman. Now, my second mentor was introduced into my story as a teacher. I was taking a course on teaching while already teaching English, and she then turned into my boss and a personal friend. And what I learned was about teaching, which is my career. So I have two different skill sets here. I have the emotional skill set, and then I have the professional skill set. I had two different mentors, one for each part, right? Skills, and most importantly, a job. Something that was very important for me to decide to finally move out. So again, it doesn't need to be a wise old man. I finally crossed the threshold, and just like in most stories, it was a snapshot. It was something super quick rather than a long process. I think that if I had to come up with a cinematic shot, it would be of myself and my parents from steps looking at the skyline of my hometown as the sun set behind the hills. Then I guess we could cut to me sleeping in this room on a cot on that wall with boxes of fruit as a closet, while I waited for my stuff to be brought from Tecate and to finally get myself on my feet. Those were the days. And that basically sums up this first part of the hero's journey. On the next episode, we're going to talk about the initiation act, and we're going to start with tests, allies, and enemies, or as one blogger put it, in which the hero faces new challenges and gets a squad. So, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please put them in the comments below. Remember that the sources are linked in the description as well, so that if you have any questions or want to check out any of the articles that I mentioned during the video, feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching again. Stay safe, and I will see you all in the next class.